Okay, so we are going to be focusing in this lesson with taking an existing document and putting it into MLA style in terms of its formatting. We're not concerned here about the content, we're just concerned about the formatting, like margins and font and things like that. So we're going to open up the Word MLA starter file, which comes from Canvas. You can download it from there. And I've got it ready to go right here. As you can see, it's not formatted very well or very much at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of flip back and forth from the instruction file and our text file to make it the right style. Alright, so the first few instructions. This file should be double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point with 1-inch margins. Let's start there. So I'm going to select all of the text and I'm going to choose in the home ribbon Times New Roman 12-point double spaced. Alright, now as far as the 1-inch margins, I could edit them individually, but a shortcut is if I go up here under layout, under margins, I can choose normal, which has got 1-inch margins all the way around. So click on that, my margins are correct. So far so good. Next we want to put it half-inch indent at the beginning of each paragraph. Now there's different ways to do this in Word, but the style guide, which comes from Purdue Online Writing Lab, tells us to use tabs. So that's the way that we're going to do it. Alright, so what we need to do now is at the beginning of each paragraph, we need to just hit a tab. The problem is that this text is so tightly wound together that you can't really tell where the paragraphs start and end. So one way to find that out is if you go to your home ribbon, you've got this little tool right here which shows and hides copy editing marks. So if we click on that, we see a whole bunch of stuff show up. There's little dots in between the words. That represents the space bar. These are invisible symbols. They don't print and they don't show unless you toggle this on. But this mark right here represents a paragraph. So at wherever we see that paragraph, we just want to hit a tab. Now there are some exceptions. A couple of places in this paper you will see a subheading. Well, wherever there's a subheading, there's already a couple of returns, or enter key has been hit a couple of times. So we don't need to do it there. We just need to do it everywhere that there's not a subhead. And this is a little bit monotonous, but it doesn't take long. Just stick with it and keep your eye out for that copy editing symbol. We do need to hit the tab after the subheading, but not before. Okay, I think we're almost there. Yep, we're there. Okay, so if we've done that correctly, we should now have our tabs that represent paragraphs. Scroll them back up to the top. Okay, now if they're freaking you out, you feel free to turn off the copy editing symbols. We're good to go. Alright, let me pop back over to our instructions. Next, it tells us to add the page number in the header. In the upper right hand corner, a ½ inch from the top of the page and flush with the right margin, we're supposed to put our last name and the page number, right? Now, the actual MLA instructions say to put it on all pages. Sometimes, though, your instructor will ask you to not put it on the first page, and you should always listen to your instructor. So, for now, we'll just put it on all pages as MLA style requires. So I'm just going to click on page 1 and go to Insert, Header. And what I like to do is actually go to Edit Header, and I get this contextual ribbon with all kinds of choices, right? And so we know that this header is going to include a page number. So here under page number, I want one on the top of the page, and it's supposed to be flushed to the right side of the page, right? But it was also supposed to include my name, so I just type my name in there, right? Now, this particular header, you can see it's flush with the right margin, and if you kind of eyeball it, it's about a ½ inch down from the top, so it's already in the proper location. One thing that I notice, however, it's not in the proper font. So I'm going to go to Home, and I'm going to choose Times New Roman. All right, now if I click off of it, double click, I'll now see it's kind of grayed out because it's supposed to be not active, but I can see Nichols 1, and if I scroll down to page 2, I can see Nichols 2, and so forth and so on. All right, next instruction. For the first page only, we're supposed to create a heading that includes your name, your instructor's name, the course, and the date. All right. So put your cursor in the upper left corner, hit enter, maybe a couple of times, and it's supposed to be your name, your instructor's name, in this case I'm the instructor too, the course name. So this is CS 105, which is Survey, gotta spell it right, Survey of Computer Information Systems. And today's date, you put the date it really is, but at the time of recording this is August 11th, 2016. All right, and there should be a space, a hard return in between that date and this. This is the title of the paper, which is our next instruction. You should center the title. It's not supposed to be bold, italic, or underline, or quotes, or anything like that. Just standard case. So we just center that. And there's our title. All right. Now, let's go down here and see what's next. Next, we're going to do section headings. Now, you wouldn't normally have section headings, or you wouldn't necessarily have section headings if you were doing a paper, a short paper for your English class or your history class or something like that. But if you were doing a very long paper, like a dissertation or something like that, thesis, you might have you might need section headings because your paper is so long you want to break it up. I've added some pretty specific instructions on how to create these section headings, because the way we create these affects the next two sets of instructions for the table of contents and for the index. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to take we're not touching the title. That's not a subheading. We're going to scroll down and we're going to find the first subheading here, and we're going to make it bold. We want to make sure it's flush left with the left margin, which it is, and it's supposed to be numbered. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the existing tools in Word to make it numbered. So up here in the home ribbon under the paragraph section, I'm going to click on numbering, and it puts in the number 1, which is perfect, but it also indents it, which is not perfect. So I'm going to go up here to decrease indent, and I'm going to bring it back so that once again it's flush left with the left margin. Okay. Now, that's exactly what it's supposed to be, according to the style guide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this subheading, and I'm going to make my life easier by turning this into a style that I can reuse. So with this highlighted, I'm going to go to the style section, and this little button in the corner here, I'm going to click on that, and it brings up a style sheet. And I'm going to click on this one, which is New Style. And I'm going to create a style called MLA Subhead Level 1 and say OK. Now as soon as I do that, MLA Subhead Style 1 shows up in my style menu. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to find the next subhead. I don't even have to really highlight it, just click in it and click MLA Subhead. And this one, MLA Subhead. And so you can see it just it's adding bold, it's adding the page number, not page number, list number, and it's keeping it flush left as it should be. Okay. Now you might say, well, why wouldn't I just highlight it and make it bold and whatnot? Well, you could. This saves you a couple small steps, but it also sets you up for the next set of instructions, which is table of contents. So that's the primary reason we're doing it this way. Okay, now if I pop back over to these instructions, I actually just did all of this. Okay, And now we're going to go down to instruction number 11, which is the idea that these guidelines are coming from this online writing lab at Purdue. And here's a link to those instructions, and it asks us to add this site as a source in my works cited and create 2 in-text citations. So we're going to go ahead, if I hold down the control key, this becomes an active link. We're going to go ahead and open this in a browser window. And what's nice, what they've done for us that's nice, is they've created a summary right here which lists their contributors and their date and all of this sort of thing. So that's a nice thing. So now what we need to do using this information is we need to create a citation. Now we're not just going to type it in there. We're going to use the tools that we've learned in the lessons. We're going to go up here under reference and we're going to manage sources. Now it so happens I already have it in my master list because I've done this before, but you probably don't. And so we're just going to go through these steps. We're going to create a new source, and our source is going to be a document from a website. And this is where we put the author. Now this time it's going to be pretty tricky because that author, there's multiple authors. So what you have to do, and this is going to take a few minutes, what you have to do is you got to go up here, and I'm lazy, don't want to retype, plus I create typos that way. So I'm going to select just one author's name and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go back and under edit, under author, I'm going to paste it in there. And I'm going to take the first name and put it in the proper field and say add. And there's my first author. And then I got to pop back to Purdue and select the second author. Go back to my sheet. Add. Okay. Unfortunately, this particular one has a lot of names, so bear with me. Oops, I have the site open twice. I would take a shortcut, but whenever I do that in these videos, students also take the shortcut. So I don't want you to take the shortcut, so bear with me as I go through each one of these. This one has a middle initial. That's fun. As tedious as this is, I certainly am glad that I don't have to actually type it because I make mistakes. There we go. Now they did list this one, the Purdue OWL staff, and that's pretty tricky because that's what we call a corporate author, and usually it's one or the other, either a corporate author or a list of names. They've done both. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, but I can't put it in as a corporate author. I'm just going to use this. Okay, so now you see this whole long list of names, and then we'll just move on. Name of the web page. Now notice there's the web page and there's the website. All right, and it doesn't want the URL at this point. It wants like the title, right? So we're going to take a look at this, and I'm just going to make the decision that the name of the page is going to be MLA Formatting and Style Guide. And the name of the site is the Purdue Online Writing Lab. Okay, now it wants two sets of dates. The first set of dates it wants is the date that the page was published. So if we go up here and search around, you can't always find it, but in this case we can. It was 8/10, so August 10th, 2016. August 10th. And the year, now the second set of dates is the year, month, and day it was accessed, the time you looked at it. That's always important because one thing that happens is the pages change over time. And so you might cite something on a web page, and if somebody goes to look at that web page, it's different than when you cited it. And that's okay, that's understood, but that's why we put the year accessed, or the date accessed in there. Now as far as medium, I'm not sure this is what is intended, but to make this end up the way we want it to end up, I'm going to take the URL of this page and copy it and then paste it into the place where it says medium. Okay? And I'm going to say OK to that. Now when you say OK to that, notice the citation, the in-text citation is going to look like this, and the bibliography entry is going to look like this, and all is well. So we're going to say close to that. And now we haven't added in our works cited yet. We're going to make sure we're in MLA style. The whole time we should have been. But we haven't done our works cited yet. What the instructions asked us to do next is, where are my instructions? Is up here. Add the site as a source, that's what we just did, and include at least 2 in-text citations. So we're going to pretend that that when we wrote this research paper, we quoted material, or I should say included material that came from that source. So I'm just going to pick a spot. Let's say that the information up to this point came from that source. Now under references, under insert citation, we choose that source, and it puts the source in there the way it should appear with MLA style. It's interesting because that's not what I expected. I expected an et al, but I'm just going to go with it. And it's set to do that in a couple of places in the document. So maybe we'll do it at the end of a paragraph here. All right. So now we go back to our instructions. And the next instruction is to find another source and add it as a source as well. Include at least 2 in-text citations. Okay, don't forget that. We need to build a good bibliography or works cited that has multiple sources of information. Now, as it happens, I know that when I created this, I took the text from a site that produces dummy text and I bookmarked it. So I'm going to go here to Dummy Text Generator. All right, this is the site where the text came from. You can see it's right there on the page. So this is the text I want to quote from my second citation, my second source. Now this one's a little trickier because you can look all over this page and you will find, I was about to say, you won't find an author, but I have some weird names here. It's a thanks to, though. It's not a author. So I don't have an author. Also, if you look around, I don't have a date. Okay, so this is coming up short. So what about the name of the page? Well, name of the page could be dummy text. We'll call it dummy text. And the name of the site is Blind Text Generator. So we'll go down here and we'll manage our sources, and we'll create a new source. And this is a document from a website. We don't have an author. We're saying the name of the page is dummy text, spelled better, and the name of the site is Blind Text Generator. Is that correct? Blind text generator. Yes. All right, and then if we return here, it asks us for the year, month, and date. There was none listed on the site, so we have to leave that blank. But the year that we accessed it, we can put in. All right, and then the medium, again, this is where I'm going to put in the URL. Again, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's what's supposed to go in there, but it makes the citation come out the way I want it, so I'm going to do it that way. All right, and I'll say OK. And so now I have a second citation that looks like this, or a second source that looks like this, and now I can use it as a citation, just as I did before. I'm just going to find a few places and pretend the information came from that source, and it's going to put it in for me. Alright, all is well, and now we go to our instructions once again, and we're on our last set of instructions for this, or last instruction for this set of instructions, and it says to include a works cited section on a new blank page at the end of the document. Alright, so we got to go to the end of the document, and we need to insert a blank page, and then it says to create a works cited. So we go to references, and under bibliography we choose works cited. Bang, it creates our works cited for us. Okay, in proper MLA style, so we're good. MLA 7th edition. There's not an 8th edition available yet, but there should, so we're in 7th edition. Alright, so we go to instructions, and it tells us to put the works cited heading into the appropriate style, and it tells us to put the text into the appropriate format. So we go back here, we can take this heading and put it into MLA subheading style, and we take this text and we can make this text Times New Roman 12 point double spaced. I'm noticing some space between paragraphs, so I'm actually going to go here and I'm going to take out that 8 point. Right? And there is our works cited in MLA style. Alright, save. Okay, that's the end of this set of instructions. So I'm going to stop the video here and then create a new one for the next set of instructions, which is table of contents.